Hey y'all, I'm back with another podcast, and in today's podcast, I'm basically going to be going over what it's like having or experiencing what some know as imposter syndrome. I know that I'm one that suffers from that a lot, and I know that I have 20 reasons what it has or how it has affected me in some ways. And I'm just going to jump right into the reasons, okay? So, first reason and the first thing it has affected is the bag. It's hard for me to be able to around people and socialize just because I feel like I just don't belong in that area. Um, I have to look up the reason for you guys in the next video because I might do like another series of this. I didn't have that written down, sorry. Um, but I'll be more prepared next time. Imposter syndrome, yeah, when it comes to the bag, I definitely have let go of a lot of opportunities or have failed to take advantage of a lot of opportunities that could have made me a lot of money because I just feel like I don't belong and I'm just not worthy of being in that space. Um, it's hard for me to really keep like a really great job because I feel like I don't know, I feel like like I said, I don't belong there. Another thing is, it's draining. When you have imposter syndrome, when you're suffering from imposter syndrome, it's draining. You start to feel like you get worn out, especially when you're at work. Like by the time you get home, you just feel drained. You don't feel like doing anything, and it just takes over. It just takes over your body and your time. You almost like start to believe that that the imposter syndrome starts to become you in a way, and it starts to not even be a feeling anymore. It starts to become a fact in your mind, which again can be draining. It's hard for you to make friends because you feel like maybe the most intelligent people, you can't be around them. You feel like maybe you're going to talk too much or you're afraid of how they're going to look at you in some type of way. You just feel like you don't belong. You won't really take credit for all of your hard work. Most of the time, you just start to allow other people to just jump in and take credit for the hard work that you do because you're afraid of speaking up for yourself because you already feel like you don't belong there. You don't want to make a scene, so you kind of just let things rock. You start to belittle yourself and you belittle your hard work. You start to feel unappreciated in the spaces that you are in, whether it's at work, whether it's around friends, whether it's around family. You start to work harder than most people and you don't want to take all the credit for it because, again, you feel like you don't belong there. Taking credit sometimes mean you're going to get the attention and you really don't want that. You want to be great at what you do. You don't necessarily want for people to acknowledge you for what you do in a way by making a scene. But as long as nobody bothers you, you're fine because you already feel awkward being in that space anyway. A lot of people that suffer from imposter syndrome, I can speak for myself, I suffer from people pleasing as well. So when you start to people please a lot of the times, you just start to lose yourself in a way because you feel like you need to fit into the space that you're in. So you start to want to be yourself, but you have to be somebody else for some reason. And your true self is going to show eventually, and people are going to start seeing who you are. You're going to come off as being a fake person. You're not fake. You just thought you could keep that shit going for as long as you can. Excuse my language. But yeah, I don't know. And you start to carry that around with you everywhere you go, and I feel like it starts to become visible at some point. People start to see right through that, and that's not a good look for you. You start to, like I said, you look at you start looking like a fake person, and people don't want that. People want genuine people, and people want you to be who you are. And if you're in a space where you feel like you can't be yourself and you feel like you just don't belong, no matter how great you are at what you do, no matter how many awards that you get, you're gonna feel like you don't belong there. I suggest you just let go. You start having a lot of self-doubt, and you start hiding behind all your creative thoughts and all your dreams because, again, you just don't you don't feel like you are worthy enough to be in that space. And I don't know who gave us that thought, but that seems to be something a lot of people face with as well. And even though it's not true, you start to believe that it is. You make it become a thing in your mind. You're in your head with it all the time, and no matter what you do, you start to just always become nervous. You ever went to a job, or you ever were in a relationship and you had to go home, or you had to go to that job and you just would become extremely nervous? There could be several reasons for that. It could be because you feel like the partner that you're with, you're not equal enough to them, or they're better than you in some type of way, or you're afraid that you all of a sudden now aren't good enough for them, or that job that you go to, you want to do all the hard work and you work hard, but for some reason you just feel like you don't belong there. There could be several reasons for it, but I know when it comes to imposter syndrome, you just don't want to be there sometimes. You really want to just leave it alone and just go elsewhere. I do think that every now and again, I allow myself to just work at places where I know that I don't necessarily fit in, but I do them anyway because I feel like I have something to prove. I don't know to who. I don't even think it's going to matter. I just start to I give up quick. I allow failure to become like my best friend in a way. There's other people around me that feel the same way, but they're better at hiding it. I used to be great at hiding it and putting it away, and nobody would ever know how I'm feeling when I'm in uncomfortable places. But over the years, I start to fail. I start to not know how to deal with that in a way. I don't know if it's because I just got so used to it, it became a part of me in a way. I think I just allowed it to overcome me. I allow just the thought and the thought of failing for some reason. I'm going to make another video of that, but just the thought of failing in the middle of all these people that either don't look like you, don't sound like you, don't talk like you, consider you to be different, too different from them, where you just feel like no matter how much you push yourself out there, it's just never going to be enough. You start to just have friends that you aren't going to keep around for long, but you start to make friends in all these places. You start sharing your stories with all these people. You start looking like this different type of person. With imposter syndrome, I don't want to be in that space anymore. I want to be comfortable. I think when I'm around people that I'm uncomfortable around, it just makes me uncomfortable. And there are times where I feel like I have to be in that space, like I said, because I feel like I have to prove a point. And it looks nice on my resume. It makes me look or think smart. So I thought, there's been so many times where my education means nothing. There's been times where you're told that you're better off, with a high school diploma and going off to college. It's been proven so many times that so many people that don't have high school diplomas are very wealthy and accomplished people. I wouldn't suggest one to not get a high school diploma. I'm not telling anyone not to go to college. But, feel comfortable in your skin wherever you are, doing whatever you do. You don't deserve to put yourself down and make yourself feel like you're not worthy and you're not worth being in a certain place. If you want peace in your life and in your heart, you have to create it. You have to want it. You have to build it, and you have to build it from within. So when you go into uncomfortable settings, you're able to lift your head up and just keep walking. Don't allow others to just basically put a label on you and say this is who you are and this is who you're always going to be. I don't believe that's fair to you as a human being. I don't believe it's fair to you as a person. You have a heart, you have a mind, and you should be able to use it. Use it to to the best of your abilities. Don't allow this to overcome you. You're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. There's been times where I didn't take pictures when I should have. I didn't record something when I should have, just because I felt like I was already in an uncomfortable position in the first place. I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be praised for these awards, or I shouldn't be getting acknowledged for this moment. And I just failed to just absorb the positive moments that I should be experiencing at that time. I let a lot of moments drift away. Moments that really mattered, moments that should have mattered to me at the time, I didn't take advantage of. And now I'm thinking back, like, if I was just myself in those moments, if I just would allow myself to be at peace with myself at those times, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I don't regret it because it is who I am. I have to take that into consideration as well, so I don't beat myself down for it. But just be mindful of next time when I'm in a great space, absorb that great space. Don't let don't let the thought of me feeling like I don't belong there take away from the moment that I should be experiencing. During this pandemic, it's taught a lot of people that if you're able to do something, do it now while you have the chance, because you just never know. I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't be recording this right now if someone somewhere didn't need to hear it, or if I didn't need to just record it and get off my chest. Never feel like you don't belong somewhere, because wherever you are, you belong there for a reason. If you feel like you're uncomfortable in that situation, do the best that you can, work your hardest to get out of it. Do things that make you uncomfortable in the most positive way that that can sound. Get yourself out of those situations where you feel uncomfortable. You shouldn't have to feel like you can't be yourself in certain places. All right, y'all, let me know what y'all think about imposter syndrome down below.